Hi everyone, welcome back to Brain Dump, a show where I talk about what's on my brain. I'm your host, Kai McAlvin. Today I'm going to talk about trying to fix things that aren't fixable. Before I start this, I do want to say something because, this is just a moment to toot my own horn because it's not a big deal at all. Like, this is just normal behavior, but I've had a toxic relationship with social media in the past, as I know, and today I just wanted to hop onto my Instagram to let people know if they want to keep up with what I'm doing. This is kind of the only way of knowing. Without social media, you don't have a presence online. But anyway, I just did a little promotion on my story and I immediately deleted the app. I'm just typically the kind of person that take a look at what people are up to, people that aren't in my life anymore. And I thought about it and I said, that's not going to make you feel any better. And I deleted the app. I know it sounds like not a big deal at all. I've always struggled with self-control. I resisted the urge. Again, it doesn't sound like a big deal at all, but in my mind, it is. I'm a people pleaser. I always have been, and for certain instances, it can be very helpful, but the majority of the time, it results in me getting walked all over. I believe that my brain simply doesn't know when to give up on things that are too far gone. I can't fix everything, no matter how hard I've tried, because you truly can't change how things are supposed to play out. As much as these little scenarios seem like the end of the world, you have so many more life experiences to endure, and you shouldn't fight for someone to stay in your life. Because the right people will stay. It's hard to see in the moment, like, this person would never leave me, but be honest with yourself. I'll go through shit like that and lie to myself all day long to give me a peace of mind, but you have to leave those people from that chapter of your life behind, and allow the people that are meant to be in your life long term in. I don't know, I feel like we need to normalize not shit-talking every single interaction you have with someone. Some people's morals are not going to line up with yours, and that's something you have to accept. All of us have such different minds, and you can't go into the world thinking that everyone's going to agree with you. You're gonna be disappointed if you have that mindset, because at the end of the day, people are gonna have opinions no matter what. In order for me to reach my goals, in order for things to get better, I've forced myself to let go and let change happen, because I can't fix everything. I have so much trouble letting go. Even if I know that there's something better waiting for me, I definitely do believe that the universe works in crazy ways, and your intuition is always right. Acceptance plays such a huge role in my mental health. I feel like I've emphasized that throughout this entire podcast, and it's hard because I'm the type of person that doesn't trust themselves, but tuning in with your internal thoughts helps you build that trust and confidence. That's why coping mechanisms that let you express those feelings are so important, because you'll learn that trusting your gut is the way to go. Change is such an intangible thing, and I feel like everyone tries so hard to avoid it. Our brains are hardwired to do things that make us feel safe and comfortable, so finding the motivation to change and telling yourself that you can't fix everything is the first step. Trying to fix everything has definitely put a strain on relationships and friendships in my past, because my mind is always running a million miles a minute, and I'm anxious about what's next and how I can get it done. Anytime someone comes to me with their problems, I take it on as my own, and my mind thinks of dozens of ways to hopefully help fix that problem for them. That's where boundaries come in. You have to set those boundaries with yourself. Sometimes not letting yourself cross that line, and instead of trying to fix everything, just say, I'm here for whatever you need. It's just as simple as that. I wish I knew that sooner, because in the past, I'd think that if I don't try to give advice and quote-unquote help them, then I'm not putting enough into it. But if I do try to give advice and try to fix the situation, I feel really invasive, and I know that they're not ranting for me to give them outcomes, they're telling me just so I can be there. That's been something I've been working on lately, listening and not trying to fix things that aren't worth fixing. But how do you know if something's worth fixing or not? I feel like there's a part of my brain that secretly knows if things will work out. Like, it may just be anxiety, but there's always that nagging in my head that's saying this isn't gonna turn out good. But another part of my brain is lying to myself so I can be happy. We all have this fantasy world in our head of what our ideal life would look like. And in reality, it takes time to achieve that, but I'm so impatient that I rush into things. And that's why I think so many things in my life crash and burn, because I put myself in situations that my fate did not have planned for me, because I get overexcited. And for me, when I'm in the process of fixing things, I get so worried and so wrapped up in other people's problems But then I feel guilty because then I think none of my friends are going to want to come to me with their problems because I overanalyze the situation. And I wind up thinking about it more than them. It's my hyperfixated mind, and I'm working on it. I want to take a quick break to thank the sponsor for today's episode. I don't know why so many people are listening to this, but I really do appreciate it. I didn't think that people would reach out to me wanting to sponsor their product in my podcast. But for some reason, Spotify has some sort of algorithm going on, and these are getting more listens than I thought they would. Yeah, all that's to say is thank you. Avon is the sponsor for today, and I cannot tell you how many times I've ordered from this site. I'm a sucker for some skincare. Like, I cannot get enough, and Avon.com comes through with its products. They have an assortment of selections on their site, such as makeup, fragrance, home, jewelry, hair care, and wellness. Go to avon.com/repstore/kmcalvin for a 10% discount on your first purchase. They're having all sorts of discounts right now, and even a giveaway that contains a skincare basket at the value of $548. I might just enter. I think I'm going to right now. Again, that's avon.com/repstore/kmcalvin for 10% off your first purchase. In a way, I find it selfish that I take on other people's problems as my own, and I think, am I only trying to solve this for them so I can stop being stressed out about it? It just makes you think about how self-centered we are, just on a whole, in society. We need to fix the problems for our own well-being. While having good intentions, it has hurt the people around me by withholding my doubts about the situation. My whole thing with people coming to me for help is I want to be able to find what they're looking for. And I want to be that person in someone's life that's like, I'm going to go to Kai to have a conversation about my feelings. Maybe not phrased like that, because that's weird, but you get the gist. When I can't help them or fix their problem, I feel like I've wasted their time. This person came to me with something that they were struggling with, and I just applied all of my toxic thinking patterns to their situation. After acknowledging that, it's super easy to stop yourself from doing it, because I don't want to be that person. Doing this to myself has honestly made me feel burnt out at times, because I'm feeling so much guilt and regret. It takes a toll on how I'm feeling, and that burnt out feeling has an effect on my motivation, and I find myself lacking that. But me, being the person I am, I overanalyze everything. I think I'm so selfish for letting this have this much of an effect on me because it's not even my problems. Does that make me selfish? Having the transition from not caring about yourself at all and only putting others first to being able to say, you know what, I'm going to put myself first for once, makes me second guess whether a choice I make is for the benefit of my friend or partner, or is it for the benefit of my own. My conscience can't live feeling like that because, as we've established, I get in my head, and I don't want to be this bad person that feeds off of other people's problems. Wanting to fix everything is a trait of people pleasers, and it makes you impossible to respect. The fact that I'm willing to drop everything to try to solve someone else's problems, again, that is not healthy, so therapy. And everyone knows I don't know how to say no, so I get walked all over. Since I noticed this about myself, I've avoided taking on anyone's problems, with most of the people in my life not talking to me right now. That's been pretty easy because no one comes to me with their problems. I do believe that if I were faced with it now, I would have a much different approach in helping someone with their problem. Accepting change is hard. Right now, I'm holding a journal from a time that I had to accept change. This was November 20th, 2022. I was admitted to the hospital on the 15th. So it says, "Hi, it's currently, well, I was about to tell you the time, but there's no clocks in this damn place. We just ate dinner, and after every meal we have 2 hours of reflection time. Sounds peaceful, right? No, I'm so bored. For the first 2 days, I cried during this time. On the third day, I slept. Yesterday and today, I've just been journaling. It's honestly really therapeutic. If I were at home, I'd probably be on my phone. Today's gone by pretty fast so far. Tomorrow is hopefully my last day here. The thing about Ridgeview is they'll tell you that you're getting discharged on a certain day, but then they change their mind and make you stay 3 days extra. I just want to be home before Thanksgiving. I've been 19 for 5 days already, and I wish I just celebrated my birthday that night. Maybe I wouldn't even be in here. Whatever, can't change the past now, but it puts a real perspective on things. Like if I did just one thing differently, I wouldn't be stuck in this place. I don't want to die. I want to be alive and experience everything life has to offer." So that's just an example of something in my life that shifted, that was a change, and it resulted in growth and learning more about myself. Constantly trying to fix things is, like I said before, exhausting, and it's unintentional. I wish I had a choice in not doing it, and I do, and I have to remind myself of that. It's taking a lot of self-discipline, but I have to do what's best for me by taking the steps to unlearn those parts of me that wants to solve every problem that comes my way. Boundaries are huge when it comes to people pleasing, and I've had to learn how to say no. For the longest time, I had so much trouble saying no because I didn't want people to be mad at me. That was when I was putting everyone else's feelings ahead of my own, and I am not doing that anymore. I think another thing about it is being extremely insecure, especially around the people that you care about. So of course, you're going to want to go above and beyond for them, but sometimes less is more. So it's all the matter of fixing the fixation. Be open to the things that you can control and set firm boundaries to protect your peace. And just remember, progress is not linear. It's going to be hard for a long time before it gets remotely easy. Having that self-realization will tell my mind to calm the hell down for a bit because most things are out of my control, and I'm forced to take it as it comes. There's been times where my people-pleasing has caused problems because, I still want to help people, but in moderation without being taken advantage of. I would try to help people in every aspect of their life, and some people come dependent of me, and it stunts their growth because they're not dealing with their problems on their own. They're always coming to me to find solutions, and I couldn't do it 100% of the time because I'd burn myself out, and I'd probably burn out the people around me too, if I'm being honest. By doing all this, I feel like I'm creating inauthentic relationships with people, and I'm reinforcing their negative behavior by accommodating everybody's needs without setting boundaries. The people pleaser part of me doesn't want to tell people the whole truth about my feelings just to avoid conflict, but that's resulted in me being a bad communicator, and it's something that I have to work on. Having that constant urge to fix things is very draining. I've had to remind myself that I can't impose on another person's growth by getting involved and trying to do all the work for them, because that's directly negatively affecting their mental wellness. Sometimes I see things going on with other people in my life, and I find myself feeling the need to insert myself just so I can help them fix their problem. But it's all a matter of how badly they want it, because most of the time people just need you to be there, or just be a shoulder to cry on. If they're in a state where they want to listen, then they'll ask for advice and take it. But people need to think for themselves, and constantly throwing advice in their face does nothing when they don't want it that bad, and when they're not at that part of their journey yet, which has nothing to do with you. People can't heal without being exposed to that part of their journey because you need life experiences to know the answers. Obviously not all the answers, but people pleasers are typically ones that have experienced trauma, so if they don't want your advice, that's the part when you say, okay, I understand, and I'm here for whatever you need. And don't try to insert yourself in it again. That's the thing with boundaries, you have to follow through. Sometimes I'll set a boundary with someone and find myself doing the exact thing I said I wasn't going to do, but that's growth because I'm learning from that, and I know that it's not healthy to insert myself into a situation that has nothing to do with me. It can be frustrating because I'll see someone I know and care about put themselves into a toxic environment over and over again, and I just have to step back and let it happen because I can't control everybody's life experience. When I do step in, it creates a lot of resentment. You have to surrender to the fact that people are only going to grow when they're ready. All of us are on different paths of healing, and once you understand that, things start to click and you see why your behavior in the past was toxic. There's times where I feel like I have to fix myself. Like I'm not working hard enough to better me. But in reality, I'm doing literally everything I can. I push myself to the absolute limit, which I think is why I get burnt out so much, but learning to do it in moderation is so hard. And a part of this is managing your expectations. Not everything is going to magically be fixed once you take a step towards that healthy thinking pattern. Acknowledging your needs is essential because you can't go through your entire life not knowing what you want. I didn't know what I wanted for a long time because I was just focusing on others. Communicating your needs is even more important, and it's good to have a person that you can be vulnerable and honest with. Not everyone's going to agree with your actions. Choosing what's best for you and not taking into account what the outsiders will think is extremely important. I feel like my whole life, a huge part of me is always so concerned about how others perceive me. Like, if I'm not doing all I can at all times, I'm not a good person. I'm not fucking Superman, and sometimes I have to stick with my gut feeling and do what I need. It's been helpful for me to get a piece of paper and just list out all of my priorities and values, so I remember what's most important. By always focusing in on other people, I live with a sense of mediocrity, as opposed to living my life to the fullest extent, and that's scary. I don't want to waste my time. Trauma bonds in childhood force you to do whatever you can to keep your abuser happy. When I was a kid, I feel like my number one priority was trying to please my dad. And of course that was hard because it was never good enough. And so I grew up with the idea in my head that nothing that I would do would ever be good enough. So when people tell you that you are, it's hard to believe them. If I continued to help people and make them happy, I hoped that I would get better treatment from others, but I do get let down a lot. Sulking about that doesn't accomplish anything. I feel like I spent so much time during these horrible situations in my life, just sitting in my own feelings. And I don't know, I feel like for a while I found comfort in my own sadness, which is such a weird thing to say because I hate being sad. Being sad sucks. I don't know. Sometimes it would just truly be comforting to just sit in my room and cry and listen to sad music. And for so long I thought that was helpful. And of course it's helpful to cry. Don't hold that back. But it comes to a point where you have to say enough is enough and move on. You're just stuck in your head, and you could use this time to be thinking, all of this is happening for a reason. I say that so much, and the people in my life get so sick of me saying it, but it's so true. The butterfly effect is real, and you can't change what the universe has planned for you. I know the phrase, everything happens for a reason, can sound cheesy. Every bad experience that you have in your life is only preparing you for good things that you're gonna get in your future. I don't know, ever since I started looking at it like that, everything bad that happens to me, I'm like, okay, this is just one step closer. I don't know if that's the healthiest way of looking at it, because maybe I'm just giving myself false hope, but I do believe that everything happens for a reason. All this to say is, you have to trust yourself and trust that if the universe wanted someone else's problems fixed, you shouldn't have to get involved. It's so hard to control that, because if you've been doing this for so long, just trying to help people and fix their problems, it's hard to unlearn that and do things for yourself. But when you're doing things for yourself, you have to keep in mind to not be selfish. Prioritizing yourself is different from just caring about you and nobody else in your life. I'll always be a people pleaser. That's a trait that I can't get rid of. And over time, I have gotten better about it, and I'm continuing to hopefully get better at not just trying to accommodate for others. I feel like that learning process never really ends, because we're always growing. That's all I have for today. I really appreciate you guys hanging out with me. If you could follow this podcast on Spotify and rate it 5 stars, it would mean so much to me. You don't know how much it helps. Today was a bit of a vulnerable episode. This is something that I've always struggled with, and it does feel really good to get it all out, you know? Anyway, thanks again for hanging out with me. Remember that you are loved, you are valued, and you are appreciated. I'll see you guys later.